Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flakes Data. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who wants to recreate a trip across the United States while riding the tiny tricycle that Billy the Puppet rode and saw. It's Chris Kelly.
Hi, everybody.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, it'd be really bad on my knees.
Yeah.
But who knows if I could beat his score.
I mean, so he has to make this trip. So what we're talking about today is, I wrote an article a while back called Which Horror Villain Could Make It from New York City to San Francisco the Quickest? And to drive, it's 2,927 miles. To walk, it's 2,923 miles. And then it's a 6-hour flight. So I wanted to bring up a bunch of random horror villains and figure out how fast they move and see who could make the trip the fastest. Now, I started with a list of about 30. And, I had the gremlins, but it would end in apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
if a gremlin starts walking cross country, it's going to get wet.
Yeah. They would take over. I feel the same way with the Blob.
The world would be done.
You get smoked pretty dang.
And then I brought up the Firefly family, but they would just go to every pit stop and kill people. And then they'd be shot somewhere in, Ohio. Like, they wouldn't make it far.
Or the Exorcist demon, it would just kind of it'd be like an old man. Ugh.
It just sits down.
Yeah, I was like, excuse me, Father, do you have any Epsom salt?
Yeah, put me in the back of a flatbed and drive me across country.
Yeah. Possess someone later.
And then if Ghostface, of course, this is silly, but I just kind of said, it would just trip.
Get smacked
too many accidents.
Why do I keep wearing this outfit?
This is my 4th rental car. And then the Hills Have Eyes folk,
ran out of mountains.
They wouldn't want to do it, right? They couldn't.
I think they would definitely get caught a little bit quicker. They would just kind of this is our 3rd person we killed. We killed the wrong one again. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Pluto.
The way I envision this is like a death race or a rat race where they're all trying to, so there's a starting line.
Death race, you say.
They all have their own, they have like bandanas.
It's like Cannonball Run.
Yeah, there it is. I did.
The name of that cartoon with Hong Kong Phooey and the Grape Ape?
I don't know. Is
remember
that
the Amazing Race? Yeah, The Amazing Race. You remember that?
Mm-mm.
It was a cartoon back in the Grape Ape. That's the only thing he said was Grape Ape. It was a gigantic purple ape that drove.
You're making this up.
Yeah, look it up. It was on Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh, double featured, same director. Now, I guess the ones I stuck with, I picked 11. So I picked The Crawlers from Descent, because that's one of my favorite horror movies. The Saw Tricycle Puppet, Billy, Jason Voorhees, The Graboids from Tremors, Jaws' nephew. I don't know if it is his nephew from Jaws 4, because...
I think so.
Yeah, or a hitman, like a private detective, right? It's either a family member or someone they hired to wipe out the Brodies.
Can you imagine how they show up, like the one guy's showing up smoking a cigarette, and it's like, all right, listen up. I want you to take this broad out.
Very noir-esque. I'm out here in the Bay. I'm in the Caribbean trying to kill the Brodies.
I want her to sleep with us. With the fishes.
She was a femme fatale.
You mean us? Of all the shots.
Well, swimming across the bay, I saw a whale. She had... I was going to say... Oh, no. The Critters from Critters, the Blob from the original Blob, the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz, Michael Myers from Halloween, The Thing from The Thing, and Danica Talos from Blade Trinity, played by Parker Posey, because she's amazing. So I had to do that. But I had a lot of fun on this, and I actually spent a lot of time watching how fast these creatures move and finding trails for them to go across. So obviously the shark, right? The shark isn't going to be able to go cross country. There isn't enough of it's a psychic shark, but there's not enough of a system to get it across. It's not like it's not like the alligators in New York sewers. Like, it couldn't swim through those. So I had it going through the Panama Canal, and I figured out that the journey would take 6,900 miles, and I clocked how fast it swam. I actually did the math and figured out how fast it swam in Jaws' Revenge, and it moves at about 16.58 miles per hour. So it takes 17.3 days for it to go from New York City to San Francisco, because it just had to go a very long way around. And, average speed, it's a psychic shark. And I actually took I took some time off so I could eat a fisherman or some salmon or scuba tanks, something like that. You could have some munchies on the way.
I like how you have it chilling the most in the warm areas.
Yeah.
It's just pit stop. Where it gets colder.
And I actually, so if you look at the article, I actually have all the pit stops it would make, and I added that time into it. So this took a long time. And then the weirdest one I did was the Wicked Witch, which I had the most fun with, because I watched a scene where she was flying. So I took she flies past a tower, and it's a 1-second clip. And so I figured that her max speed is 50 miles per hour based on how long she shot past and, flying. So I gauged that. But here's the deal. It doesn't matter how tough she is. She's still riding a broom. That's not comfortable. So you're flying for an hour. You gotta you got to stretch.
Yeah. You're probably going to take more pit stops.
And you have to stretch your back out. Like, you don't have good...
Because you're leaning forward, too.
Yeah, it's not comfortable. Like, this is not a comfortable ride. So, she goes really fast, 50 miles an hour, but she takes a lot of stops, and I factored those in. So, like, for every hour, she needs 10 minutes of stretching, and then I added 6 hours of sleep each night, back stretch break, that 3 hours at a time, and meals 1 hour a day. And so she impressively is able to sit on a broom for 14 hours a day. And that would take her 4.17 days to travel cross country.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
I probably should have added more breaks, because I'm watching this clip right now of her flying and it hurts my back. And another tough one was the tremors. So and we were talking earlier, and you said, hey, maybe these tremors should move quicker. But they can't just travel laterally across the United, because there's streets, there's roads, there's tunnels.
How far down can they go?
So what I did was I looked up a thing called the American Discovery Trail, and it's 238 miles away from New York City. So it'd have to go from New York City to Washington, D.C. Then it can follow the 4,834 mile trail at a decent speed to avoid a lot of the roads or basements, right? Or bunkers. So if it's just sticking underneath the trail, which it knows it's underneath for some reason, which is crazy, but it could do that in 33.81 days. Because it has to probably sleep. Let's say it comes across a bunch of tree roots.
Oh, yeah, then they have to reroute and like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, or work its way around things. It can't move as fast as it can through the desert. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's going to go through a bunch of terrains.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. It's like more of the wooded areas would be tougher. Then it'd have to go around.
I was sitting around just staring at this, going, what's the best way for a graboid to travel? And it felt good. Like, I'm happy with it. I think the thing that made me the happiest were the Critters ball. Remember in Critters, that giant ball that they have?
Yeah.
So it would take them 16.2 days. Because, all right, I have to ask you a question, Chris. You're a critter, right? You're one of 1,000 critters in a critter ball rolling across the United States at 15 miles an hour. Now, when you guys disband to go attack a gas station and get some munchies, how long do you think it would take 1,000 critters to get back into a critter ball?
I guess it would depend on how organized it was and how often we got into the critter ball, but I think...
Are critters organized?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I would assume probably somewhere around an hour.
So go attack,
come back, and they're like, like, come on, Bill. You know where your leg's supposed to be. He's like, damn it, Steve, get your leg out of my foot. You know?
Are they doing a head count when they get back together?
Oh, like do they have an AD with them?
Yeah, are they, like, they're extras on a film set. You counting them all back in?
Oh,
they're losing a few each stop.
Yeah, they've got to be a couple of guys. Like one guy, leaves and he says, I like this town. I'm going to stay here. One of them's like, oh, no, I got shot or something. I would imagine they probably by the time they get to New York, from New York to LA, they probably make, they probably lost maybe like 200 or 300.
Man, so then
I would think.
So then they're down to about 800?
Probably. I mean, that'd be a good, that would be a small number.
Yeah, they could still do a decent sized critter ball.
Yeah, that's still pretty big. That's like the size of this room.
Now, police. I guess we're just assuming
they just see the critter ball coming and they're like, holy shit.
Or maybe we live in a world where we know this race is happening.
Oh man, that would suck, wouldn't it? Like, we can't do anything for like a month.
Yeah, you just can't go outside because a critter ball might pass.
Well, would it end whenever one person got there? Because then that wouldn't be too good for New York.
Yeah, you're right.
You would almost have to eliminate the vampire and say like she gets an honorable winning. But then like the more like it'd be like the race would be on between Jaws, Jason, and Critters.
Yeah, that's a good point. So there'd be 3 different kind of branches, right? There would be the Thing versus Danica Talos. Because it can take over, like, right?
Now that'd be a match, I'd say.
Yeah, who makes it faster? And then it's the things that are stuck on the road. So obviously the Wicked Witch isn't in this crew. So I mean, it wouldn't be fair to put the Tremors versus Jason versus the Saw Tricycle Puppet and the Crawlers against each other. Actually, it wouldn't be fair for the Crawlers from the Descent because...
Yeah, because they're still stuck in, Poughkeepsie.
And they have to travel at night.
Yeah.
So they have less time than daylight. So right now, if you look at it, there's about, like, right now at this time of the night, there's probably about 6.5 hours of traveling time. And then they eat for an hour. So they're moving 5.5 hours every night at about 4 miles an hour. Because they're pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, they move fast, but like you said, they can only move at night.
So it would take them 132 days.
I think a fair match would be the Crawlers versus like the Puppet, or maybe if you wanted to throw in Leatherface.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a fair move
because Leatherface would have Leatherface would have the chainsaw with him the entire time.
And he can't run for that long.
That would slow him down. He can sprint.
Exactly. He'd be good for like maybe like a half mile, and then he's like have to take that'd be. And he moves during the day because he's human, so he has to sleep. So then these guys move during the night. So I think that'd be a fair match.
And he gets more travel time.
Yeah.
And I think Billy the Puppet, though, Billy moves very slowly, though. So I watch Billy the Puppet, and I said that he does a 35-minute mile. Because if you watch him in the movies, he moves very slowly. So it would take Billy the Puppet 71 days to make it across country.
Yeah. I think that, of course, you get a lot of pissed off drivers.
Oh, man. Just go around. Yeah. Go around.
You mad? Yeah. How many, like, soda cans he'd get thrown at
Bicycles would be behind him, be annoyed.
They'd kick him, too. Like, the paper boy would be like, what? Really, Billy? Wow. You picked today? Who are you up against anyways? Who's even your speed? The crawlers go at my speed. Yeah, the crawlers go at my speed, Billy.
Yeah. And then Jason just walks slowly. 20-minute mile. What do you think?
I think that's pretty fair, yeah. Yeah,
41 days.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Now, that seems pretty quick, though, wouldn't it? That does sound kind of fast, but...
Just walking 24 hours a day.
If he's walking... I didn't think about 24 hours a day, yeah. Never mind. That's pretty damn... And then, that's about right.
I had the Blob going 6 days, because it just rolls 20 miles an hour nonstop.
It would, and that would just expand until...
San Francisco's dead. Yeah. So if you have to watch one of these journeys that we've just talked... So Michael Myers also have... here, he's drove. So I had 2.5 days, but he would have to make 13 refueling stops along the way. He has no money. He doesn't know how to fix tires. So actually, if this is legal and everything works perfectly, yeah, it would take him 2.5 days.
I like how you put that in there, because it's like, well, how's he pump gas?
Yeah,
because I mean he'd have to pump and then leave. So
pump
it's
and
like
dash.
Eventually someone would see this.
Yeah, cops gonna be like, there's a guy that's been dashing across the country,
and he's like driving down the street, like, oh damn it, again.
Not the cops.
Yeah,
I don't have my license. None of the cops want to pull him over. I'm not pulling over Michael Myers.
Like, you know who that guy is? They made 7 movies on this guy.
He always comes. I've seen him explode 6 times.
I saw him throw a construction guy into electric shock. Okay, I'm just saying.
So 2.5 days for him. And then the Thing, I said, would take it 13 hours because it would have to assimilate into somebody else.
That was great, because that actually makes a lot of sense, because he could just...
So it's scout a pilot, right?
Yeah.
And then find the pilot. Where are you going? Oh, that one's going to San Francisco. Scout him, switch into him in the bathroom, right? And then get in the plane and fly over there.
Do you ever see the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington?
Yeah, the thing just floats.
Yeah. Like, man, that would definitely be some stiff competition.
Oh, because that would just... Whew,
yeah, he could, and then he could just wham, wham, wham. I think that would be a lot of like that'd be a good competition. The Thing versus the Thing and Fallen. The Thing and the Thing in
from the Fallen. That's a good competition.
Danica Taylor.
What I like about her is she has to hire a private jet. They have one on retainer, but you have 2 hours to get the pilot there. The pilot has to arrive, then they have to fuel it, right? Then they make the flight for 6 hours, and then she has to get into a limo to take her to the docks, because that's where they went. And then she has a light protector. So 10 hours for her to get there.
I think a good competition with Danica Taylor would be Puff Daddy. Who could get there first?
And their private jets?
And their private jets. It's like, aha! The race is on.
I don't think... Man, she would just hire...
I think she would still win.
Yeah. I mean, she has vampire money.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really top that. You got... When you got that vampire dough, you know what you're doing.
And I have no idea how they make so much money, but they have a lot. So,
well, if you've been around forever, you don't have to spend it on, say, for instance, like food. And like a lot of these people have been like, oh, I've been a vampire since the 11th century. It's like, yo, so you already got this ball in house. So it's like you got all this money. You don't have to spend it on things such as like house, clothes, food. Your biggest expense would be what?
Blood factories?
Yeah. You just invest in the Red Cross.
Secrecy. Start your own line of blood vans.
There you go. Do you remember that episode of Tales from the Crypt with Malcolm McDowell? He plays the night shift guard for a blood bank, and he's a vampire.
Oh no!
Oh, it's amazing because he they show his house, and his house is like this big ballin' place. He lives in his coffin, and he's just like, whoop, gotta go to my night shift guard. Oh, it's so funny, and it's like, and then they run out of blood. The Red Cross is like, we're running out of blood, and you're like, how is that possible? And it's like, and he's just, so then he goes out into the night stalking people so he can get the blood back. And he's just like, it's so funny because he attacks people and he's like, excuse me, have you had any dental work in the last 24 hours? They're like, what?
Any tattoos in the last 6 months?
It's so funny. Yeah, that's a good one.
If you could watch one of these on a live stream, which one would you watch?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's a tough toss up. I think that I would probably go with the Blob.
The Blob, just
that
the chaos.
That seems more actiony.